Good afternoon, Flesh and Blood community. My name is Sin, and welcome to FABTCG. Today, we're going to be talking about my initial impressions of all of the spoilers we know so far, which is pretty much all of them, except for the Fabled, for Flesh and Blood Outsiders. I've been very excited for this set. I hope you guys are too. LSS seems to have knocked it out of the park flavor-wise with some of the new Assassin cards, and really knocking it out of the park, kind of giving Azalea and Ranger some more tools to maybe combat the evolving meta and combat the evolving game state. So what we're going to do today is we're just going to go through, I'm just going to blast through these and do a first initial impressions of all of the cards we know are coming in the set, and kind of read them out real fast, think on them a little bit, and just go from there. So I'll try not to keep you guys too long. Let's get to it. So, right off the rip, we have Uzuri Switchblade. She is our new assassin, adult, and young hero that says once per turn attack reaction, banish a card from your hand face down, turn the card banished this way face up. If it's an attack action card with cost 2 or less, put target attacking card with stealth from the active chain link on the bottom of its owner's deck, then put the banished card onto the active chain link as the attacking card. So this lets you play a card with stealth as an attack reaction, use Uzuri's ability, flip that card, banish an attack that costs 2 or less, and then essentially put the stealth card on the bottom of your deck and the banished card in play as the attacking chain link. I think this is really cool, and this is really good. And if you're a former Magic player like I am, and you've played any kind of like maybe even CEDH or EDH, and you know Yuriko, she is a ninja that is often played in Commander and uses an ability called ninjutsu that when she attacks, you can pay and actually take a creature from your hand and take Yuriko that's attacking and kind of flip-flop them. So that's kind of very similar to what Uzuri is doing here, and I really like that kind of play style. She has a young version in Blitz, starts at 20 life. Arachne Solitary Confinement is the second Arachne card, but this is the second Arachne hero, but this is a new Arachne hero that is Blitz only, that says your first attack with stealth each turn has go again. A really cool option for aggro players out there. I know I'm going to be playing Arachne Solitary Confinement more than likely. I'm going to be messing with Arachne probably over Uzuri and Blitz. So that's really exciting for me personally. So you have all of the new daggers, Nerf Scalpel. All of the daggers do the same thing, except the when this hits a hero text. Instead of defending attack action cards like Spider's Bite does, each one does a different card type. So Nerf Scalpel is for reaction cards, which means defense reaction cards. So you can make your opponent's defense reaction cards defend for -1 while defending. So Orbitoclast is for non-attack actions, Scale Peeler is for equipment, and it's really nice to have this little toolkit. And so we move on to the first legendary, which is Redback Shroud. While Redback Shroud is in your graveyard at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silver you control if you do equip Redback Shroud. So you can block with it, use it, recur it. I think this is going to end up being played a lot more in Arachne Huntsman than it'll see play in Uzuri. I think Uzuri may still just be another one of those heroes that benefits heavily off of like Tunic, probably. I don't foresee Redback Shroud being played often in Uzuri, but I mean, you could. Thing is, with Uzuri, you're probably only going to be able to get to use it once, whereas in Arachne Huntsman, which is more of, I would say, a mid-range fatigue kind of build, you're probably going to be able to recur this at least once throughout the game. So this is a really interesting legendary. I'm very excited for it. I've seen the extended art for it. It is gorgeous. So really cool card. Infiltrate, 0 cost stealth. When this hits a hero, banish the top card of your deck. You may play it until the end of your next turn. So it's not your deck, it's their deck. So you can banish, you could essentially banish your opponent's Pulverize or something like that. Turn around on your next turn and just dump your entire hand into playing Pulverize or something like that against an Oldhim or a Bravo. Like, you can steal the top deck of your opponent, the top card of your opponent's deck, and get to play it until the end of your next turn. This is interesting and kind of scary. It's very random, at worst, you're banishing a card off the top of your opponent's deck that they don't get to play the rest of the game, which is great. At best, you're hitting one of your opponent's key cards that you then get to throw at their face. So take it as you will. I feel like in the late game, this is actually going to be a really good card. If you're playing into fatigue and, you know, over the course of the game, you know, you're putting this card to the bottom of your deck with Uzuri, at the end of a game, you could infiltrate, maybe get an attack reaction over the top, and then essentially take your opponent's card, and it gives you more fuel to fight with on your next turn. I don't know how often that's going to happen, but it seems pretty good in my book. Shakedown, Uzuri spec. If you've played or activated an attack reaction, this chain link. Shakedown has when this hits a hero, choose red, yellow, or blue. They reveal their hand, banish a card of the chosen color. Okay, so that's cool. Spreading Plague, attack reaction, create X Blood Rot Pox tokens under the defending hero's control, where X is the number of defending cards this chain link. Backstab, we already seen those. Sneak Attack, I assume this is going to be a color cycle, so red, yellow, blue. If you've played or activated an attack reaction this chain link, Sneak Attack has +4. So there's a couple things you could do with this. I think this is more of a solitary confinement card. I think this is an Arachne solitary confinement card. It's very reminiscent of a, like, it's very reminiscent of almost like a flying kick. So that's probably where that's gonna lie. Spike with Blood Rot. We've seen these already. Infect is a color cycle. Isolate is stealth, dominate, 0 for 3. Malign, stealth, damage that would be dealt by Malign can't be prevented, so it can't be prevented by like Oasis Respite or something like that. So that's gonna be a cycle. Prowl, stealth, the next attack with stealth you play this combat chain gets +1. I think this is another solitary confinement card. I think this is another, yeah, I definitely think this is another solitary confinement card. I could be wrong, might be too early to tell. We've seen the cycle of stealth cards that are on hit create the curses or the diseases or whatever you want to call them. You know, we have Infect, we have Sedate, we have Wither. Razor's Edge, we know this comes in a color cycle. Razor's Edge, target attack action card with stealth gains +3. And those are our base assassin cards. Those are just the baseline assassin cards that are in this set. Now we move on to Ninja. We have Katsu and Benji. You guys already know what Katsu and Benji do. I don't need to tell you. Let's talk about the new stuff, though. Mask of Many Faces, instant, pay 1, destroy Mask of Many Faces, name a card. The next attack action card you play this turn gains that name. This is a good way to fix combo turns where you don't have the full combo. You can only do it once. You might need to block with it, but I think in Limited, this is going to be really, really good. We got Cyclone Roundhouse, if spin, and this is from there's a couple cards in here, there's a couple new cards in here that are combo cards. So if Spinning Wheel Kick was the last attack this combat chain, this has at the beginning of the reaction step, banish a random defending card from each chain link. I believe this was one of 3 floating spoilers, and they kind of played out the scenario where your opponent has blocked with equipment and you go to play, like, and then you follow it up with this, and you could potentially banish your opponent's equipment that they blocked with. So say you're playing against Dash, and I think this was the exact example they used. If you play against Dash and Dash uses Teklo Foundry Heart to block with something, you could Cyclone Roundhouse and potentially banish their Teklo Foundry Heart. So I think Cyclone Roundhouse is pretty good. I think it's possible this might become part of the Katsu kit going forward, especially if you have things like Oldhim or any equipment heavy hero. This is really good into. It forces them to really think about where they want to block it on the chain, and if they don't block this, then they're going to be taking the Spinning Wheel Kick. So, you know, you got Dishonor. We've seen this if Bonds of Aneth. This card is also nuts. Like, what is this? When this hits a hero, if you control Surging Strike, Descending Gust Wave, and Bonds of Ancestry, that hero loses all abilities for the rest of the game. We know Dishonor seems crazy on the surface. I think it is a fantastic, fantastic card. Head leads the tail. When this attacks, name another card. Attack action cards with that name have +1 this combat chain. It's a really good starter. You could essentially buff any of your combo cards and go that way. Benji got a new spec Wander with Purpose. When this hits, you may discard a card with cost 0. If you do, search your deck for a card with combo, banish it, then shuffle. You may play it this turn. I like this because it's flavorful. This is a flavorful card. You know, we know to a degree that Katsu is training Benji to some degree. So for Benji to have just a card that lets him essentially co-opt and adopt Katsu's ability, that's pretty cool. We're going to move a little quicker. Silverwind Shuriken, Shuriken attack reaction item. Destroy this target attack action card with combo gains +1. I really like that. I think it's fun. I just think that's fun. Honestly, visit the floating dojo. It's a new Katsu spec. This might end up becoming really good tech for fatigue, because you can put a surging strike in a card with combo from your graveyard on the top and or bottom of your deck, so you can kind of set up and stack a little bit for the end game. Bonds of Ancestry. We've seen this card. I'm assuming it comes in a cycle. Recoil is another new one. If Head Jab was the last attack this combat chain, this has when this hits a hero, they put a card from their hand on top of their deck. So we know that probably comes in a cycle. Spinning Wheel Kick. 1. If Twin Twisters or Spinning Wheel Kick was the last attack this combat chain, this has +1, and when this hits, put it on the bottom of its owner's deck. Pretty good for the fatigue matchup, I think. But we got Back Heel Kick. If Twin Twisters is the last attack this combat chain, this has if Back Heel Kick would gain, instead it gains that much +1. So this could be potentially be a 0 for 5 at the end of a chain. It's a little kind of but you could really play mind games with this, and that's kind of what this style of ninja is all about, is playing mind games with your opponent and making them think you're going to follow up with a card that you're actually not going to follow up with. So while they're preparing and they're blocking one card, you're going to flip it on them and play a different one. So you got that. Then you have Be Like Water. We saw this. I believe it was Calling Auckland. We saw this. Yeah, this was Sushi Night Gaming's card. Descending Gust Wave. This is the missing key to the Surging Strike, Gust Wave, Bonds of Ancestry, Dishonor line. So you have, if Surging Strike was the last attack this combat chain, this costs 1 less to play and has +2 go again. This is really good on its own for the sake fact that now there is one, now you're able to start, like, it's a combo starter of itself. So I kind of like that, and giving a natural go again means that it has 2 defense, so it's not fantastic, but you're often not blocking on Ninja anyways, so give or take, see how that goes. That's going to be in a cycle. 1-2 punch is another head jab finisher. So this is a potential to do, this has potential to do 0 for 5, blocks 3, which is pretty good. It's conditional. And then that's going to have a yellow and blue as well. Twin Twisters is a reprint. I'm not even going to talk about it. On to Ranger, Azalea, and a Riptide, who I really want to talk about the most here. Is Riptide is a new Ranger hero. Riptide, Lurker of the Deep. Whenever you play a card from hand, you may put a card from hand face down into your arsenal. Whenever a trap you control triggers, deal 1 damage to the attacking hero. 38 life and 19 in Blitz. Barbed Castaway is his weapon. Trench of Sunken Treasure is the next legendary on the beat here. We got once per turn instant, put a face down card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck, gain 1 resource. Arcane Barrier 1 and Blade Break. I really like this. This feels really good for Riptide. But we're gonna experiment with all this eventually. We have Quiver of the Abyssal Depths, another legendary, 2 Ranger legendaries in the set. We have instant 3 resources, destroy Quiver of Abyssal Depths, shuffle 3 arrows with different names from your graveyard into your deck. Really good for fatigue. Quiver of Rustling Leaves, we've already seen this one. Crow's Nest is an Azalea token quiver, which says whenever an arrow is put face up into your arsenal from your deck, you may pay 1 if you do put an aim counter on it. Driftwood Quiver, instant, destroy Driftwood Quiver, put a card from your arsenal on the bottom of your deck. It's just a cycle. It's kind of like maybe anti-CNC tech or something like that, which, to be fair, Riptide is kind of has potential to get trapped against a CNC if he's got a trap in his arsenal, or if anything like that happens. It's good to kind of have Driftwood Quiver to maybe avoid that from happening. Wayfinder's Crest, Ranger Equipment Head. When you defend with Wayfinder's Crest, look at the top card of target hero's deck. So noted, you can look at the top of your own deck, or you can look at the top of your opponent's deck with this. Kind of up to you on that in that regard. So we have Amplifying Arrow. We have Barbed Undertow, which is one I kind of really want to talk about. If Barbed Undertow is an aim counter, it gains when this hits a hero, choose red, yellow, or blue until the start of your next turn. They can't pitch cards of the chosen color. You could really hurt the turn of an Oldhim by just saying blue, or you could really hurt the turn of Dromai or Phi by saying red. They can't pitch cards of that color, so it kind of goes against their game plan, and this hurts them. I think this hurts. Buzzsaw Trap, this really hurts Pummel. This really hurts players that want to play Pummel. You can play this from hand. Remember, traps, the new traps cannot be, or don't have to be played from arsenals. So you can play this from your hand, and when this defends an attack with greater attack than its base, the attack can't gain this turn. So it makes them waste a Pummel, or it makes them waste a Razor Reflex, or makes them waste a Razor's Edge and not get any benefit from it. So I think that's really good. Collapsing Trap, you know, when this defends an attack with Go Again, the attacking hero discards their hand and draws as many cards -1. We know that. These three legendary traps I feel like are very, very good, and they deserve to be one-ofs in each deck, I think. When this defends and the attacking hero has played or activated a reaction, this Chain Link, put the top card of their deck into their graveyard. When they lose, then they lose X life, where X is the number of cards in their graveyard with that name. This is pretty solid against oh man, just like against any hero that repeatedly plays cards. Melting Point, your next arrow attack this turn gets +4. If it has an aim counter, when this hits, destroy a one-handed weapon. So you can really, really, really hurt the ninjas and assassins that are running daggers. We have Boulder Trap. When this defends an attack with attack greater than its base, put a -1 defense counter on equipment the attacking hero controls. Okay. Pendulum. When this defends and the attacking hero has played or activated a reaction, this Chain Link, put the top 2 cards of their deck into their graveyard. I think this is very, very solid. I think this is solid. So I like that. When this defends an attack with Go Again, the next time an attack action card hits this turn doesn't trigger. This is essentially this may be a better, I can't remember what the red trap was from Tripwire Trap. This might be a better Tripwire Trap, but I'm not sure yet. Gonna have to play with these cards a little bit to really know. Fletcher Redtail, I think this is really cool. You know, you got Fletcher Redtail, which is a red art. Yeah, Fletcher Yellowtail, which is yellow art, and Fletcher Bluetail, which has blue art. And each one cares about blue cards, yellow cards, red cards, respectively. You have the lace line, Lace with Blood Rot. Your next arrow attack this turn gets +3, and when this hits a hero, create a Blood Rot token. Same with Frailty, and same with Inertia. Not rocket science. Excuse me. Falcon Wing. If Falcon Wing is an aim counter, it gets +1, and it always has Go Again. So I think this is pretty solid, just for the sake fact in like Lexi, where you can go wide, to just have something that has natural Go Again. I've always kind of felt like arrows not having natural Go Again is not great. Falcon Wing, I think, is going to be included in most Lexi decks going forward. We're going to see this card show up maybe a little bit more. I'm not a Ranger expert, so please feel free to rip into me in the comments. Infecting Shot. If Infecting Shot is an aim counter, has +1. When this is a hero, create a Blood Rot Pox token under their control. Cycle. Murkmire Grapnel. If Murkmire Grapnel has an aim counter, it has +1. Damage that would be dealt by Murkmire Grapnel can't be prevented. Sedation Shot. It's kind of the same deal. When this is hero, create an Inertia token. Spire Sniping. When Spire Sniping is turned face up in Arsenal, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, then put them back in any order. I think this is pretty solid for Azalea, because like you're always opting to some degree and you're using Azalea's ability. Spire Sniping, pretty solid. So so that'll be a cycle. Widowmaker. This one is basically barraging beatdown it's basically a barraging beatdown on an attack action for Ranger. So that's sick. Withering Shot, same thing as sedation and infecting shot. Now we're on to the Assassin Ninja cards, which this is an archetype I'm pretty interested in seeing how it plays out. Flick Knives, next legendary Assassin Ninja equipment. Once per turn attack reaction for 0. Target dagger you control that isn't on the active chain link deals 1 damage to target hero. If damage is dealt this way, the dagger has hit. Destroy the dagger. So you can throw your weapons at your enemies now, which is kind of cool, actually. Mask of Shifting Perspectives. Destroy Mask of Shifting Perspectives. Whenever a dagger hits this turn, you may put a card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. If you do, draw a card. Blade Cuff is kind of like a limited. I'm assuming this is kind of a limited. This is going to be played in limited, probably. Pitch 2. Destroy Blade Cuff. Your daggers gain +1 this turn. Stab Wound. When this hits a hero, they lose X life, where X is the number of times the dagger has hit this combat chain. Concealed Blade is interesting. Target assassin or ninja attack action card gains +1, and when this hits, equip a dagger from your inventory. So you can, the daggers that you destroy with Flick Knives here, you can bring back in with Concealed Blade. I like that a lot, actually. I think that's pretty sick. Knives Out, your daggers gain +1 this turn is pretty solid, especially when most of the assassin daggers have piercing 1. I think that's pretty good, actually. Bleed Out costs X resource points less to play, where X is the total damage you've dealt with daggers. This combat chain, that's a cycle. Hurl, as we're hurling, boys. As an additional cost to hurl, you may pay 1. When you do, it gains when this attacks, target dagger you control deals 1 damage to target hero. If damage is dealt this way, the dagger is hit. Destroy the dagger. Go again. So a 3 go again for 0 in assassin that lets you potentially make it 4 and later on bring another dagger in. I feel like that's kind of the piece, kind of like things with go again are kind of the piece that assassin has been missing, I think. So I'm going to be doing some testing, and I'll probably have like an Azuri video later this week based on just play testing. So like it's coming. That'll be a cycle. Short and Sharp. Target dagger gains +3. Target attack action card with 2 or less base gains +3. 1 for 3. 1 for +3. It's kind of like a weird Razor Reflex. Just doesn't give you go again. Yellow blue will be there. Mask of Malicious. And now we're on to the Assassin Ranger stuff. So Assassin is getting a lot of cards this set, so there's going to probably be multiple builds of Assassin floating around out there in the ether. We have Mask of Malicious Manifestations, where for 1 resource you can put a card from your hand or arsenal on the bottom of your deck. Destroy Mask of Malicious Manifestations. Malicious Manifestations. Malicious Manifestations. Reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal an attack action card. Put it in your hand and then shuffle. Go again. Toxic Tips. I really like Toxic Tips. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it for Assassin or for Ranger. Maybe Assassin will play it. It's gonna be a great draft pick, I think. Being able to just threaten an on-hit where an on-hit may not have been present to begin with. Codex of Bloodrot. I really think out of all 3 of them, this is the best one. I would not play this into Icelander or Oldhim, though. I don't want to give Icelander or Oldhim anything in their arsenal. Unless I am about to play Codex of Bloodrot and then play a stealth card and then play CNC over top of it. At which point, the Oldhim will probably just crown it anyways, but Icelander may have a problem with that. We'll see. We'll have to see how it plays out. Codex of Frailty. You put an attack action card from your graveyard face down into your arsenal. Each hero that does that discards a card. Codex of Inertia. Each hero puts a card on the top of their deck face down in their arsenal. Each hero that does discards a card. Create a Ponder token under your control and an Inertia token under each opponent's control. Death Touch. I think this card is great. I'm going to say it. 1 for 6 blocks 2. Yes, it can't be played from hand, but you can cheat it in with Uzuri. When this hits a hero, create a Frailty, Inertia, or Blood Rot Box token. I think this is a great card because you can Razor Reflex this thing. Like, you could Razor Reflex this thing, pump it to 9, give it go again. I'm just saying. I think Death Touch is a very good card. Toxicity seems crazy on the surface, but I actually I think this is more of an Azalea tech than it is anything else, because Uzuri, if you're gonna sink the Uzuri card, it loses the effect of a toxicity, so you kind of can't really play with that around. You could definitely run this in Uzuri, I think, but I don't know. Azalea being able to dominate and being able to play arrows like that, and giving the arrows that already have really good on hits the ability to say, when this hits you, you're also losing an extra 5 damage. All of a sudden, game's changed. You're going tall, you're dominating, and that 10 you were initially hitting for is now a potential 15 damage. I'm just going to shrug on that one. And move on. Comes in yellow and blue. Virulent Touch can't be played from hand. When this chain link resolves, if Virulent Touch is defended by a card from hand, create Blood Rot Box token under the defending hero's control. Okay, that's going to be a cycle. Blood Rot Trap, Assassin Ranger defense reaction. It shocked me that the Assassins got these. I knew something like this was coming for Ranger, but the fact that Assassin got these, I'm not sure if I'm gonna ever play this in Assassin. We'll see how it goes. Maybe Arachne Huntsman likes these since they play in a more fatigued like manner. But as for Uzuri, I don't think Uzuri is gonna want to maybe run these. Some of them are a little too conditional. The only one that I think, the best one I think, is actually Frailty Trap as a sideboard tech into, say, like Phi or any other aggro deck that just has Go Again, stuff with Go Again. So then we're finally into, and then we do have an Inertia Trap, but finally we are into the generics, and this is where things get spicy. We are already almost 30 minutes into this video, but I'm not going to cut it here. We're still going. Vambrace of Determination, once per turn attack reaction, 1 resource, the next prevention effect that prevents physical damage this turn, prevents 1 less of that damage. When this defends, you may pay 1. If you do, it gains +1 and Blade Break. I'm not sure how I feel about this. I'm not, they seem really decent, I think. Maybe a good sideboard option. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about this. I'm gonna have to mess around with Vambraces in certain builds for heroes even outside of this set and see how it goes. Then we have the kind of like Spell Fray or like quelling of this set, which is the Seeker set. You have instant for a resource, destroy Seeker's Hood, prevent the next 1 damage to be dealt to your hero this turn. I think these are going to be really good in draft as anti-Riptide tech. You'll be able to kind of just like save yourself from taking that ping point of damage off of Riptide triggering a trap. I'm not entirely sure what 179 and 182 are supposed to be yet, but then we have Amnesia. When this hits a hero, cards and tokens they own lose and can't gain names until the start of your next turn. This is okay. I think it's okay. You know, it really it's solid tech, I think, into Dromai, because you can essentially make the dragons lose their names. Or you can make Ash lose their names. So I think, if my rulings are correct, it prevents Dromai from creating any dragons on their turn if this hits them. And even then, it's still a 6 for 3. It's a 2 6 for 3. It's not as strong as CNC, but we haven't seen a 2 6 for 3 since Command and Conquer. So I'm just gonna put that out there. This is probably maybe a good card. Maybe not. I don't know. It's an option, though. It's a kind of a budget option for that kind of like spot filler in a deck. Down and Dirty. While Down and Dirty is in your arsenal, you may defend with it. Give and Take. Whenever Give and Take is defended by an action card, you may put an action card with cost less than Give or Take's attack from your graveyard on top of your deck. Gore Belching. We're getting gross, gang. Gore Belching. I don't know. I don't know about this card, man. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. When this attacks, reveal cards from the top of your deck until you reveal an attack action card. If you do, banish it, and this gets minus X, where X is the attack of the card. Banish this way. Otherwise, this gets -7. I think this might be solid for, like, Benji. I'm gonna say it. It's really weird, but I think Gore Belching might be a Benji card. Because, like, you could attack with it and reveal like a 1, and this comes in for 6. So maybe not. I don't know. Burdens of the Past, 0 cost, blocks 3. Until the end of turn, target hero can't play defense reactions with the same name as a card in their graveyard. This is pretty crazy, actually. If there are 10 or more defense reactions in their graveyard, you draw a card. So, like, I think this card's pretty solid. This might be pretty solid card at some point in time. Premeditate is essentially Plunder Run at home. I'm not going to talk too much more on that one. Humble is interesting. It's kind of like a generic Dishonor on, like, a generic nerf Dishonor. 2 6 for 2. 2 blocks, 6 for 2. When this hits a hero, the hero loses all abilities until the end of the next turn. It's pretty straightforward. There is a yellow and a blue. Looking for scrap. I think once we get Shadow Runeblade back, this card's going to go nutty. I think looking for scrap's going to be really good. I'm actually toying around with the idea of it in Uzuri. I'm going to be real with you. And we'll talk about that some other time. But 196, 187, then Wreck Havoc. Defense reactions can't be played to Wreck Havoc's Chain Link. When this hits a hero, you may turn a card in their arsenal face up, then destroy a defense reaction in their arsenal. Interesting. 2 6 for 2. Yellow and blue, cut down to size. Another 2 6 for 2. When this hits a hero, if they have 4 more cards in hand, they discard a card. Then another. Well, this is actually 2 5 for 2. But still, when this hits a hero, create a Ponder token. That's interesting. Also, you're probably gonna have a yellow and blue. Scout the periphery. Look at the top card of hero's deck. The next attack action card you play from Arsenal gets +3. So this is definitely a Ranger card. Maybe there's other decks that might toy with it. Peace of Mind we know about. The next time you would be dealt physical damage this turn, prevent 4 of that damage and create a Ponder token. Cost 2. And then that's it. We got Bloodrot Pox. We got Frailty. We got Inertia, which we already knew about. So far, this set is looking to be incredibly fun. Running through all of the known spoilers, I really just wanted to point out that my favorite cards specifically have to be Infiltrate. Where is it? Cyclone Roundhouse. Trench of Sunken Treasure, just because I love pirates. Pendulum Trap seems pretty good. Where is it? Death Touch is another card that I really like and I can't wait to play. Yeah, I think those are like my just surface level point outs. I'm really excited to play Uzuri the most this set. I know I have talked about Assassin in the past. I've wanted the class to be better since Dynasty came out. I'm happy to see we got more Assassin stuff that seems like this is actually forming up to be a real playable class. So I'm ready for it. Bring on Outsiders. But I will say, guys, if you enjoyed this video, even though it's so long and you're still with me, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much. And I'm going to be doing some probably some deck teching here on the channel sometime later this week. Thank you all so much for sticking around and watching. My name's been Sin, and it's been great having you here. Thank you all, and have a great week.